My fiancée stood at the microphone during our engagement party and told 80 people she only said yes because the ring was beautiful. Before we go any further, take a second to subscribe, hit the hype button, and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? The DJ had just finished playing some romantic garbage about forever when Melissa grabbed the mic. Her cheeks were flushed, champagne glass sloshing in her free hand. I was standing near the buffet table, watching her the way you watch a student driver approach a busy intersection. I just want to say, she started, and I knew immediately something was wrong. Her voice had that sharp edge it gets after her fourth drink. I want everyone to know the truth. The room quieted. Jenna, her best friend, was filming on her phone like this was content gold. The truth is, Melissa continued, swaying slightly, I only said yes because the ring was beautiful. I never wanted to marry you. She pointed at me with the hand holding the champagne. Half of it sloshed onto the rented carpet. Someone dropped a fork. The sound echoed like a gunshot. I walked across that silent room, my footsteps the only sound except for the air conditioning. Every eye followed me. Melissa's parents looked horrified. Her mother had both hands over her mouth. I stopped in front of her. Up close, I could see her pupils were dilated, unfocused. Thanks for the honesty, I said. Then I reached out and slid the engagement ring off her finger. The diamond caught the light as I pocketed it. Her hand stayed frozen in the air where I'd left it. I didn't storm out. I didn't throw anything or shout. I just turned and walked to the exit while 80 people watched in complete silence. The next morning, she woke up to 300 notifications. I was already awake. I'd been up since 4, sitting in the living room, watching her phone light up on the coffee table like a slot machine landing a jackpot. Her friends had posted it all. The video was everywhere. She stumbled out of the bedroom around 9, still in her dress, mascara smeared down her face. Ryan, her voice cracked. Ryan, what happened? I handed her the phone without looking up from my coffee. I watched her face cycle through confusion, realization, then pure panic as she scrolled. Her hands started shaking. The phone slipped and I caught it before it hit the floor. Oh my God. She looked at me with wide, terrified eyes. Ryan, I didn't mean it. I was drunk. I don't even remember saying that. I know. You know I love you. You know I want to marry you. Do you? Yes. She dropped to her knees in front of my chair, grabbing my hands. Tears were streaming now. Real ones. I was scared. Everyone kept asking about wedding dates, and I panicked and I drank too much, and I'm so sorry. Please, please, Ryan. Her mother called 20 minutes later, then her father, then Jenna, who had the nerve to suggest I was overreacting. One mistake, Jenna said over speakerphone while Melissa sobbed in the bathroom. You're really going to throw away 4 years over one drunk mistake? I could have told her the truth right then, that it wasn't about the mistake. It was about the fact that when all her inhibitions dropped, when the alcohol stripped away the performance, what came out was exactly what she really thought. But I didn't say that. I said, we'll talk about it. And I let everyone think I was considering forgiveness while something else entirely clicked into place behind my eyes. I'm a driving instructor. I spend 40 hours a week teaching people how to survive situations where one wrong move ends everything. You learn to watch for the subtle signs, the way someone's hands tighten on the wheel before they panic, the microscopic shoulder check they skip before changing lanes, the little lies people tell themselves about being in control right before they prove they're not. Melissa thought the nightmare was the party. She had no idea the nightmare was me waking up. We got married 3 months later. It was a small ceremony, the kind people describe as intimate, when what they really mean is minimal. Just immediate family gathered in a quiet room at City Hall, fluorescent lights humming faintly above us. Melissa wore a simple ivory dress that brushed her knees, understated enough to look effortless but clearly chosen with care. She cried during the vows, delicate, precise tears that slid down her cheeks in a way that made everyone coo about how heartfelt the moment was. Our parents said we were so mature, so steady, that our love must be something exceptional to survive everything that had happened. When it was my turn, I said my vows clearly, looking straight into her eyes. I meant every word, though not in the way anyone there would have understood. Certainly not in the way she would ever understand. The first few months were almost normal in that curated, brittle way new routines can feel normal. Melissa was on her best behavior, overly attentive, almost careful with me, as if terrified I might slip through her fingers. She cooked dinner twice a week, even though cooking had never been something she enjoyed. She asked about my day, her voice warm but slightly strained, like she was reading from a script labeled Supportive Wife. She even came to one of my student recitals, though she spent most of the performance scrolling through her phone with her screen brightness too high. But eventually, predictably, the comments began to creep back in. You know, if you opened your own driving school, we could actually afford a house. Derek Shaw bought a place in Harbor Heights. Remember Derek from college? Jenna's husband just got promoted to VP. They're going to Bali next month. Small cuts, paper thin, almost invisible, testing the waters, probing the borders to see how much control she still had, how much I would tolerate now that we were legally tied together. I tolerated all of it with a smile. At work, Victor noticed. You're quieter than usual, he said one afternoon. We were sitting in his cramped office, reviewing the weekly schedule. Victor was 60, built like a fire hydrant wearing suspenders, and had zero patience for anyone's emotional turbulence, including his own. Just thinking, I said. About? He pressed. Traffic patterns. He snorted, a sharp, congested sound. Right. Sure. Look, I don't know what's going on at home, and I don't want to know. But you're good at this job. Better than good. You've got instincts. Don't let anyone make you forget that. I kept the engagement ring locked away in a safe deposit box. Not for sentimental reasons, just in case I ever needed to remind myself what exactly I had married. 6 months into the marriage, Melissa received an invitation to her college reunion. Derek's going to be there, she said, pretending to be casual while checking her reflection in the bedroom mirror from 3 different angles. He's giving some presentation about corporate branding or whatever. Sounds thrilling, I said. He's done really well for himself. She turned sideways, examining her profile under the warm bulb of her vanity lamp. He speaks at conferences now. Major companies hire him. I guess someone has to teach corporations how to lie better, I said. She didn't laugh. The reunion was held at the Harbor Grand downtown, one of those hotels with overly polished floors and too many mirrors. I went because refusing would have raised questions she'd never stop needling. The ballroom buzzed with people I barely remembered, all of them trying very hard to convince one another that the past decade had blessed them. Derek Shaw stood near the bar, radiating charisma and money. He'd put on muscle since college, the kind that comes with a personal trainer and a gym with eucalyptus towels. His suit looked tailored to a degree that bordered on smugness, worth more than my monthly car payment at least. He spotted us instantly and waved us over with the confident ease of a man who had never once been told no. Melissa. He pulled her into a hug that lasted a breath longer than polite. You look incredible. You too. This is my husband, Ryan. Right, the driving instructor. Derek's handshake was firm to the point of being performative. Someone's got to teach the kids not to crash into mailboxes, right? Someone's got to teach corporations how to crash into regulations and call it innovation, I replied, matching his smile with one of my own. His grip tightened for a beat, then loosened. Melissa tells me you're doing really well, she said quickly, sensing the tension, trying to smooth the edges. Can't complain, Derek said with a shrug. Just closed a deal with a major client in Seattle. Flying out next week. First class? I asked. Is there any other way? Sure. There's the way where you actually earn the upgrade. Melissa's elbow jabbed my ribs with practiced precision. Derek laughed, though his eyes stayed cold. You're funny. Melissa, you didn't tell me he was funny. He has his moments, she said. For the rest of the night, she orbited Derek like a moon tugged by gravitational pull. I watched from various corners of the ballroom, drinking water, filing away every detail. She touched his arm whenever she laughed. He leaned in as he spoke to her, close enough that I could see the slight quickening of her breath. We got home around 2 a.m. She hummed in the passenger seat, still wrapped in the afterglow of nostalgia and attention. Did you have fun? I asked. It was nice seeing everyone. Derek especially. Don't start. I'm not starting anything. I'm just observing. She went to sleep quickly, her phone left on the nightstand with the screen facing up. An invitation or a mistake, I wasn't sure. At 3:15, the screen lit up with a message preview. Loved seeing you in my shirt again. Let's not wait another 10 years. The sender. Derek Shaw. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. The preview told me everything I needed to know. Instead, I got up, went to the kitchen, and made coffee in the dark, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Then I opened my laptop and created a new document titled Traffic Log. Because every good driving instructor knows you document everything, times, locations, behaviors, and when the crash eventually happens, as it always does, you need to be able to prove exactly what occurred. The next 3 months, Melissa's schedule transformed. Late meeting with the Blue Wave executive team. Conference in Portland back Sunday. Dinner with potential cruise line partners. She started dressing better for work. New perfume. She'd come home smelling like hotel soap. I didn't confront her. I documented. She was sloppy. She'd leave printed itineraries on the kitchen counter. Our joint bank account sent me alerts every time she made a purchase. 2 plane tickets to Portland. Hotel room with a king bed. Dinner for 2 at restaurants I'd never heard of. I cross-referenced everything with Derek's public calendar. He posted constantly on LinkedIn about his speaking engagements, his consulting wins, his travel schedule. Every time Melissa had a conference, Derek was in the same city. I showed none of this to her. Instead, I'd kiss her goodbye and tell her to have a safe trip. Then one night, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Hi, I think my husband and your wife are having an affair. Can we talk?" The profile picture showed a woman about Melissa's age, professional headshot, serious expression. I called the number. "This is Ashley Shaw," she answered immediately. "Ryan Walker. I know who you are. I've been watching your wife's social media for 2 months, and I have screenshots of text messages between her and Derek, hotel receipts, photos. When can we meet?" "Tomorrow. There's a coffee shop on Pine Street, 2 o'clock. She hung up. Ashley Shaw was methodical. She arrived with a tablet, a notebook, and a thumb drive. "Derek thinks I'm stupid," she said, sliding the tablet across the table. "He thinks I don't notice when he comes home smelling different, when he starts doing laundry himself, when he suddenly needs to attend twice as many conferences." The photos were damning. Derek and Melissa at airport bars, walking into hotels together. One particularly brutal shot showed them on a balcony, his hand on her lower back, her head on his shoulder. "I hired a private investigator," Ashley continued. "Cost me $3,000, worth every penny. What do you want?" "I want him destroyed." She met my eyes. "Professionally, socially, financially, and I think you want the same thing." "I'm listening." "Derek's reputation is everything. He gets hired because companies think he's trustworthy, innovative, clean-cut. If that image cracks, he's done." "How do we crack it?" She smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "I work in HR. I know exactly how to document harassment, affairs, ethical violations, and I know exactly who to send the documentation to." We spent 2 hours building a strategy. By the time I left, we had a timeline, a target list, and a shared folder of evidence that would make any corporate lawyer weep. "One more thing," Ashley said as I stood to leave. "Your wife's company, Blue Wave. They do cruise promotions, right?" "Yeah." "Derek mentioned she was going on some girls' cruise next month. Said she needed space. First I'm hearing about it. I'd pay attention to which ship she's on and who else might be on it." I drove home thinking about ships, about how easy it would be to disappear on the ocean, about how many crew members had access to passenger manifests. Melissa announced the cruise 2 days later. "Jenna organized this amazing girls' trip," she said over dinner. 7 days, Caribbean route. "I really need this, Ryan. Work has been so stressful." "Which ship?" "The Ocean Crown. It's supposed to be incredible." I pulled up the cruise line's website that night. The Ocean Crown's schedule was public. So was the crew roster, at least the senior officers. Captain, Leo Moretti, 41 years old, 20 years with the company. Handsome in that weathered, nautical way that probably photographed well for the brochures. His social media was public too. Lots of photos with passengers, lots of comments from women calling him charming. I saved everything. The day Melissa left for the cruise, I drove her to the terminal. She was vibrating with excitement, checking her phone every 30 seconds. "You trust me, right?" she asked as we pulled up to the departure area. "Of course. I love you. Have fun." I kissed her goodbye and watched her roll her suitcase toward the gangway. She didn't look back. I spent the next 7 days working double shifts, teaching teenagers how to parallel park and adults how to merge without causing accidents. Victor kept giving me concerned looks but didn't ask questions. At night, I compiled evidence with Ashley. We had everything on Derek now: travel records, hotel receipts, text messages recovered from cloud backups, photos from public social media that placed him and Melissa together in 6 different cities. "I'm submitting the report Monday," Ashley said during one of our calls. "HR, his biggest client, and the Professional Ethics Board for corporate consultants. How bad will it be?" "Career ending if he's lucky. If he's not lucky, lawsuits." "Good." The Ocean Crown docked on a Tuesday morning. I took the day off and drove to the port. The disembarkation area was chaos. Families reuniting, luggage everywhere, shuttle buses loading and unloading. I stood near the exit holding a coffee and watching the stream of passengers. Melissa appeared 20 minutes later. She wasn't alone. Captain Leo Moretti walked beside her, still in his dress uniform, rolling her suitcase with one hand. His other hand rested on her lower back. They were laughing about something. I watched him lean in and whisper something in her ear. Watched her blush and touch his arm. Then I stepped forward. "Rough seas, Captain." They both froze. Leo recovered first, stepping back with a practiced smile. "Can I help you?" "I'm Ryan Walker, Melissa's husband." The smile cracked. Melissa's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Shock, fear, then surprisingly anger. "What are you doing here?" "Picking up my wife. You said you needed a ride, remember?" "I can get a cab." "I'm sure you can, but I'm already here." Leo cleared his throat. "I should get back to the ship." "You should." I looked at him directly. "Fraternizing with passengers. That's against company policy, isn't it?" His jaw tightened. "I don't know what you think you saw. I saw a married captain with his hand on a married passenger, in public, while still in uniform." "You're being dramatic," Melissa said. "Am I?" Leo stepped closer, trying to use his height advantage. "Listen, friend. We're not friends. You need to calm down." "I'm perfectly calm." He put his hand on my chest, pushing slightly. "Your wife and I were just talking." I looked down at his hand, then back up at his face. "You're awfully confident for a married man who just violated about 6 different employment policies." I didn't wait for his response. I turned to Melissa. "Car's in lot C. I'll wait 5 minutes." Then I walked away, leaving them standing in the crowd. Melissa caught up to me at the car. Alone. She threw her bag in the back seat and slammed the door hard enough to rock the vehicle. "That was humiliating." "Was it? You embarrassed me in front of everyone." "Everyone being Captain Moretti?" "He was being nice. I'm sure he was." We drove home in silence. She stared out the window, arms crossed. I focused on the road, counting yellow lines, timing traffic lights, staying exactly at the speed limit. At home, she went straight to the bedroom and locked the door. I went to my laptop and started drafting an email. 3 weeks passed. Melissa was different. Jumpy. She'd check her phone constantly, then hide the screen when I entered the room. She started working late again, but now she'd come home angry instead of distant. Derek wasn't calling anymore. I knew because Ashley had forwarded me the email from his company's HR department, informing him of his immediate suspension pending investigation into ethical violations. "They found everything," Ashley told me over the phone. "The affairs, the fraudulent expense reports, the client relationships he was leveraging. He's done." "How's he taking it?" "Badly. He called me 17 times yesterday. I sent every call to voicemail." "Good. What about you? What's your next move?" "Patience." Then Melissa made her announcement. I came home from work to find her sitting on the couch, hands folded, looking nervous and excited. "I have news." I set my keys down. "Okay. I'm pregnant." The room tilted slightly. "Say something," she said. "Congratulations." "Congratulations? That's it?" "What do you want me to say?" "That you're happy, that you're excited, that you love me." I sat down across from her, maintaining eye contact. "When did you conceive?" "What?" "Simple question. When did you get pregnant?" "I don't know. A few weeks ago, maybe." "Before or after the cruise?" Her expression flickered. "Why does that matter?" "Because we haven't been together in 3 months, Melissa." "That's not true." "It absolutely is. I can give you exact dates if you want. The last time we were intimate was January 14th. Today is April 23rd. "You're wrong." "I'm not." "Ryan." "I had a vasectomy." The words hung in the air. She blinked. "What?" 8 months ago, right after the engagement party, actually. I decided I didn't want to have children with someone who didn't want to marry me. "You're lying." I pulled out my phone, opened my medical records app, and turned it toward her. Surgical report. Date, procedure, follow-up confirmation. It's all there. She stared at the screen. Her hands started shaking. "This isn't possible." "It's very possible. Just not with me." "You think I cheated?" "I know you cheated." "With who?" "Derek Shaw, Captain Leo Moretti. Should I keep going?" She stood up, backing away. "You're insane." "I'm factual. You want me to show you the evidence? The hotel receipts, the photos, the text messages? You went through my phone?" "Didn't have to. You were sloppy, and Derek's wife was very helpful." "Ashley?" "She says hello, by the way." Melissa's face went pale. "You're talking to Ashley?" "We've become quite close. Shared trauma and all that. I want a divorce." "No. No. You're pregnant. We're going to have this baby together. We're going to tell everyone how happy we are, and we're going to figure out exactly what happened on that cruise. You can't force me. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just pointing out that right now you need me. Because when people find out this baby isn't mine, and they will find out, you're going to need someone in your corner. Someone stable, someone employed. She sat back down slowly. What do you want? The truth. All of it. It took 2 hours, but she told me everything. Derek had been the first. Started emotional, turned physical. Meeting in hotel rooms during conferences. She'd ended it when his wife started getting suspicious. Then the cruise. She'd met Leo the first night at the captain's cocktail party. He'd invited her to private dinners, given her tours of restricted areas. They'd been together every night. He said he loved me, she said, crying now. He said he'd leave his wife. He's married? Separated. He said they were separated. They're not? How do you know? Because I checked. His wife posted photos of them together 2 weeks ago, anniversary dinner. She put her head in her hands. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to schedule an appointment with an OB/GYN. You're going to get a conception date, and if it matches the cruise timeline, which we both know it will, you're going to contact Leo and tell him. I can't. You can, and you will. What about us? There is no us. There's you, pregnant with another man's baby, and there's me deciding how much of your life I'm going to destroy before I walk away. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. You've changed. No, you just finally see who I actually am. 2 days later, she confirmed the conception date matched the cruise exactly. She called Leo from our living room, on speaker, while I listened. He tried to deny it at first. Then, when she mentioned DNA tests and paternity laws, he got angry. This is your problem, he said. Our problem. No, your problem. I'm not losing my career over a mistake. A mistake? You said you loved me. I say a lot of things. She hung up crying. I saved the recording. That night, I sent an anonymous report to the Ocean Crown's parent company. I included everything. Photos, a detailed timeline, passenger manifest records showing Melissa's cabin number, and Leo's security access logs. Professional misconduct, code of conduct violations, clear proof of an inappropriate relationship with a passenger while he was on duty. The report was 53 pages long. I sent copies to his wife, his supervisor, and the cruise line's legal department. Then I waited. Ashley called me 3 days later. Derek's firm terminated him. They're suing him for fraud and breach of contract. How's he handling it? Moved back in with his parents. Posted some rambling thing on LinkedIn about cancel culture. Excellent. Your wife's captain got suspended too. I saw it on the cruise line's internal memo. Someone filed a comprehensive report. Interesting. Ryan, whoever filed that report knew exactly what they were doing. It was professional-grade documentation. Must have been someone who teaches defensive behavior for a living, she laughed. You're terrifying. I prefer thorough. What's next? A party. Melissa had been planning the baby shower for weeks. She'd booked the same restaurant where we'd had our engagement party. Invited everyone. She saw it as redemption, a chance to prove she'd moved past the embarrassment. I encouraged her, helped with the guest list, suggested we do a video montage. That's sweet, she said, surprised by my participation. I want to celebrate properly. She hugged me. I felt nothing. I spent 2 weeks assembling the video. Ashley provided Derek-related content. I had hours of security footage from various sources, all legally obtained or publicly posted, social media photos, text message screenshots with identifying information blurred just enough to pass legal muster but clear enough to understand. The final cut was 12 minutes long. The party was on a Saturday evening. 80 guests, just like before. Melissa wore a flowing dress that hid her small bump. She looked beautiful and terrified. Jenna made a toast about motherhood and fresh starts. Lauren and Mike sat at a corner table, looking uncomfortable but supportive. After dinner, I stood up and tapped my glass. I want to say a few things about this journey, I started, and I made a video to help tell the story. Melissa smiled nervously. The lights dimmed. The projector flickered to life. It started with footage from the engagement party. A drunk Melissa at the microphone. I only said yes because the ring was beautiful. I never wanted to marry you. Gasps rippled through the room. Then photos of Melissa and Derek. Airport bars, hotel lobbies. His hand on her back. Her head on his shoulder. Screenshots of text messages, flirtatious and explicit. Someone said, "Oh my God," loud enough to carry. Then the cruise photos. Melissa and Leo on the private deck. In the captain's quarters. Drinks in hand, his arm around her waist. The final slide appeared. an ultrasound image with text overlay. Conceived during Ocean Crown Girls Cruise, March 12, 19. Below it, another line. Ryan's vasectomy, September 8th. Confirmed sterile. The room exploded. Melissa screamed my name. Jenna dropped her phone. Lauren covered her mouth with both hands. I stood up, walked to the front, and faced the crowd. I had a vasectomy 8 months ago, I said calmly. The baby's conception date is confirmed by medical records to be during the cruise. It is physically impossible for this child to be mine. Melissa lunged at me. Mike grabbed her arm, holding her back. You're insane, she shrieked. You're a psychopath. I'm factual. Everything you just saw is documented and verified. I'll ruin you. You already tried that. At this exact restaurant, actually. Remember? I picked up my jacket from the chair and walked toward the exit. The crowd parted like water. Behind me, I heard Melissa sobbing, Jenna shouting questions, parents demanding explanations. I didn't look back. I drove to the Harbor Point parking structure, 7 stories overlooking the cruise terminal. Parked on the top level and waited. Leo arrived first. I'd sent him a text from a burner phone. We need to talk, man to man, top of Harbor Point garage. He came in uniform, walking with the aggressive confidence of someone who'd spent 20 years as king of floating cities. He saw me leaning against the concrete barrier, city lights spreading below. Walker, Captain. This is about the report you filed, isn't it? Among other things. You destroyed my career. You destroyed my marriage. Your marriage was over before I touched her. Maybe, but you made it profitable for me. He moved closer, fists clenched. What do you want? Nothing from you. I just wanted you to know what's coming. More threats. Facts. Your company suspended you pending investigation. That investigation is complete. They're terminating your employment tomorrow. How do you know that? Because I have friends who read memos. Also, your wife got the report too, with photos. I hear she's already talking to lawyers. His face went red. You sent my wife. Everything. Every single detail. Time-stamped photos. Passenger testimony. Security logs showing you giving Melissa access to restricted areas. The works. You son of a... He swung at me. I saw it coming the way you see a student driver drifting into the wrong lane. Telegraphed, sloppy, emotional. I stepped back. His momentum carried him past me. He spun around, more controlled now, and came again. This time I didn't dodge. I let him get close, then drove my knee into his stomach. Not hard enough to cause real damage, just hard enough to fold him over. He gasped, stumbled back. I followed up with a sharp hook to his jaw. His head snapped to the side, and he went down hard, landing on his back near the edge of the barrier. Not over it, just close enough to see the drop. He lay there wheezing, looking up at me with shocked, watering eyes. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folded letter, dropped it on his chest. He grabbed it with shaking hands, unfolded it. The cruise company's letterhead was visible even in the dim parking structure lights. The first line read, "This letter confirms the termination of your employment as captain with immediate effect." He stared at it, then at me. I crouched down next to him. You took my fiancée, my marriage, and my future kid, I said quietly. I took your ship, your career, and your clean name. We're done here. I stood up and walked back to my car. Behind me, I heard Melissa's voice. She'd followed, probably trying to salvage something. She was screaming at me, crying, saying I'd ruined everything. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove away. In my rear-view mirror, I saw her kneeling next to Leo, both of them broken on that cold concrete. I drove home, packed a bag, and checked into a hotel near the driving school. Victor called the next morning. Heard about your party. News travels fast. You okay? Better than I've been in a year. Good. You coming in Monday? Yeah. Good. You're still the best instructor I've got. Whatever else is happening in your life, remember that? I hung up and looked out the hotel window at the city. Somewhere down there, Melissa was figuring out how to explain this to her parents. Derek was updating his resume. Leo was packing up his captain's quarters for the last time. And I was free. Not broken, not destroyed, free. I picked up my phone and texted Ashley. Coffee tomorrow? She replied immediately. Absolutely. My treat. We earned it. I set the phone down and smiled. When you teach people to drive, you teach them that the best way to avoid a crash is to see it coming, to read the signs, to stay calm when everyone else panics. I'd seen this crash coming from the moment Melissa grabbed that microphone. Everything after that was just following the map.